He's gonna not give us fits. And it might. Oh, all right. Okay, we're up.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, hello. Yes. Sorry we're both late. I had to stay at work, and
it's been a day.
Holly agreed to accommodate me on this.
I don't know if any of you noticed, but if you had to go to Salt Lake today, we had one heck of a blizzard up there in Salt Lake. I recommended that people don't leave their homes. This was a snowstorm that just was crazy up by the college. It was crazy. But then we're all grateful. We're been praying for snow. I feel like that's awesome. But then I get home and there's no snow on the ground. So hopefully the mountains are getting it. Hopefully the lake is getting some water. And we know that the mountains in Salt Lake are just covered. And I mean, probably at least a foot.
Yeah, but we need a lot more of it.
Absolutely.
We've had an awful dry winter. It's been unusually warm. Super Bowl Sunday was like what, 50 degrees all day.
It's just crazy.
In January, it was insane. But hopefully, we get a couple more. I mean, last year we had a wet spring. It went wet quite late. Most of it was rain, but it still happened. So, hopefully we get that again. We do need the water.
Can I just say, last night was such a difficult night for my family, especially for my sweet mom. Last night,
I saw
her little 14-year-old dog, her little Shih Tzu, they were doing some repair in the house, and she had gotten out the door. This dog is deaf. This dog is blind in one eye, and she just had her hair groomed, and so she's got really short hair, and she's an old little gal. And my mom hadn't seen that she had gotten out, and the panic. And you guys know, if you have a dog or a kid or a cat that's gotten out and just not knowing if they're safe, if not knowing, if they're lost, if someone's grabbed them and doesn't want to turn them back in, it just was such a scary night. So the family and I ran over. I made a post on the Tooele 411s as well as my own page, asking anyone around that area to please just look and see if she's out there. Do you know I had 2 people from 411 showed up?
Oh, nice.
Searching the area. They don't know us.
But they know a dog's missing.
They knew a dog was missing. And I don't know if she'd care if I shared her name, but I hope you know who you are. And if you see this, I am so touched.
Mm-hmm.
And not only these folks showing up, but the people that shared it. Chris Sloan shared it. You shared it. Like, this community is so special because it still feels like we're in a small town. And I love that about this county. I love a community that comes together for a lost dog. People were setting it on their Ring doorbells, just searching the fields. It was just so beautiful. And you know what? My brother had called the non-emergency line and said, "Hey, we're missing a dog. Can you connect me with animal control?" And we still have kind of a weird animal control situation in the county. And they said, "How old is she?" And he said, "She's old." And they said, "We got her." Someone called and saw her and picked her up and called animal control, and they came and got her. And my mom was reunited her with this morning. And you guys know, like, she spent the night in the pen, in lockup, she did hard time.
In the Hoscow.
But the people at Tooele City and the people at the shelter were just beautiful people. And for my mother, she was so scared.
Well, and your
so
mother's
worried.
Gone through a lot in the last little while.
Yeah.
So it's
losing her sister and her husband, and now thinking she's lost her girl that she's had since she was a baby. And And that getting reunited with her was probably just absolutely beautiful. But I know she was so touched by the community. She had just shared it on her own page. And I was like, Mom, we need a broader reach.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, her heart was broken. I could not stand that.
Mm-hmm.
So my kids and everyone it was so cold last night too. So cold. The wind was brutal.
It's funny. Down the street, we put our garbages out on Tuesday. And if you go all the way down the street up on there, 700, there's garbages up against the fence by the horse property. And I don't know where those garbage cans came from, but I'll bet those people are looking for their garbage cans. They probably drove down the road by the wind and
I
ate
saw
a big old
trees
mess.
uprooted.
Oh yeah.
We had something on our patio. One of our little tables flipped over. It's just the glass broken everywhere. And is that Jordan? Hi, Jordan.
Yes, that's Jordan.
Yes, I traveled to Salt Lake City this morning, and I left our county with little tiny flutters of snow, nothing. I get around the I-80 about into Salt Lake, and the snow is coming down, and people are slipping everywhere. And I guess Utah County got it too. That's so great. He said it's snowing in Utah County. There's snow on the ground where I'm at. And we're glad you're joining us today.
Mm-hmm.
He said, hey guys, Jared and Holly, I have a head cold and basically resting right now. I love dogs. They're so wonderful.
That's rough being sick in this weather too. You can't go anywhere near outside.
Just a community that's like, hey,
oh yeah,
tell us around the area that she went missing. What? And I'd made a mistake because it was such a panic, and I put Copper Hills instead of Copper Canyon, and people are like, hey, Copper Hills is in Magna. Where are you at? And I'm sitting here trying to fix all my shares. And I mean, the people that just got out and said, hey, they reached out to me privately and said, give me an address and I'm out there. And I didn't even get to see them. My husband ran into them. And he was so shocked that these people were looking for a stranger's dog. And my goodness, I was so touched. And I'm continually touched by this community. We had our fire. I told my husband, I don't want to live anywhere else. These are the kindest, most giving people. And you see the giving train at Christmas. And these people, it's just like living in a small town, even though we're a giant county. But it still has that small town appeal. And that's something that I hope we preserve as a community. Don't get too big where we don't care anymore. I think this county is special, and I'm so touched by it still.
Very much. It's the small town.
It is. And Tooele is the biggest.
Yeah.
And it was a small town last night. They really came through for us. And I don't know if the woman and her husband that came out will see this, but I'm forever grateful. That was so amazing. And it's just somebody who really loves dogs and somebody who really felt compassion for my mom, but she doesn't know. That was beautiful. And I hope everybody out there. Ring has a new feature that if you own a Ring doorbell, if you have a lost pet or someone has a lost pet, they can post a picture of that pet on Ring. And what it does is for anyone enrolled in it, it sets an alert to look for that pet if it's crossing your Ring camera, and then does an automatic response to the person missing their dog. Is that not
really
amazing?
Yeah, that's outstanding.
So if a dog walks into your camera and it happens to be, I think someone's missing a golden retriever, I got that notice on my Ring camera. And so I'm looking for this golden retriever today. And someone in Stansbury, I think it's Stansbury, found a golden retriever. So if you're missing a dog, I'm hoping that you find it today. But I did see a post on Ring today. So tell us about the show today. We have a couple of guests potentially.
Yes.
If we can get our connections through.
Oh, yeah. So tonight we have Elizabeth Smith, Tooele County School Board on. She's seat 7. Trying to get the link over to her. I hope it works out. And she's supposed to come on any minute now. And then at 7:30 we will have our my state senator, Emily Buss. She's going to come on and talk to us. And this was her. She got in December, was it? Was it December?
No, I think it was more like October, November. They had the seat came open in a special election when Dan Thatcher stepped down during his tenure.
Mm-hmm.
And so his new party, the Forward Party, was able to fill that seat. And she won that election, and she's been in session now for her first session, and it's been a month to almost 2 months, I guess.
Yeah, I'd like to ask
over
her
a month
how the session went from her perspective, being a third party. That'll be interesting to know.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to hear some of the platform of the Forward Party. Is it libertarian style, where it's kind of an individual party, where the party has kind of a broad, opaque overall message, and then each candidate kind of individually runs, or are they running like the Republicans and Democrats, where
they follow the same platform?
There's an overarching supported message and what have you. So I'd like to know about that.
Me too.
I'm not super familiar with the Forward Party. I've got a little bit of communications with them, but we will, yeah.
I know they have open primary, so people can enter in an open primary, which is a little different. I know they did some events, so you get to know the candidates. And then I believe the votes happened online.
Yes, I think they did an online vote, which that's interesting, especially on a smaller controlled environment.
Interesting.
That'd be definitely something to look at. I wonder what they did to control it. We did in the past iteration of the show. We talked to a guy who was working for a company that was coming up with blockchain voting, and to see how that would work out. That would be that'd be interesting. Yeah. And then I do want to talk about some big losses that we have had. Dang it. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden losing my mind. So first we lost James Vanderbeek, JVDB.
He passed away.
Yep. He passed away, colon rectal cancer, a couple weeks ago. Matter of fact, I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Sad, a lot of you people out there might have seen him in Dawson's Creek growing up, and then Varsity, Friday Night Lights.
Was it Friday Night Lights or Varsity Blues? One of those.
I think it's Friday Night Lights. And that was epic for a lot of millennials, I think.
Yeah, that was. And there was also the big one for me is when he was on sitcom, whatever, Don't Trust the B in Apartment 23, because he played himself and he made the show. The show was okay enough, but when he was on it, it was fantastic because he played a self-absorbed previous heartthrob
actor.
He played himself, even went by the same name and everything, and he made fun of himself.
I never thought of him to be in a comedy sitcom type style comedy.
I never saw any of the others. Well, of course I saw the football. What was it? Friday Night Lights?
I swear it was Friday Night Lights. I could be wrong. Yeah. Let me do my research, Mr. Producer.
And I saw him in that, and that one was pretty good. But if you get the chance, watch that. Don't Trust the B in Apartment 23, because he's classic in it. And then and we lost Jesse Jackson, controversial figure.
Varsity Blues.
Okay, Varsity Blues.
So It was
And
on the tip of my tongue.
probably lots of mixed feelings about that one. But all told, he's a person who made a lot of things happen in this nation. You could argue, and I have, that some of those things he made happen were wrong. Just in some of his, sometimes when he came out with accusations that were found that were unfounded in the end. I think his actions during the civil rights movement are some of the most commendable.
Yeah, there was a time, right,
Yeah,
when he really felt like he was doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Without an agenda other than civil liberty for all. And that was same with the other guy, Al Sharpton.
And now Al Sharpton,
but his agenda started to show, and rest in peace.
And
sir.
Al Sharpton, okay. So Al Sharpton jumped on a couple of was Tawana Brawley one where he ginned up racial animosity to get his name in the headlines and kept stirring it up, which was kind of, I don't know, fed into any kind of upcoming race war. And that I'm not a fan of his at all. Jesse Jackson.
Why was traffic email sent?
Yeah. Jesse Jackson did a little bit of that. Not near as much, but but his movements during the civil rights movements, what he did during civil rights was astounding. Catherine O'Hara, biggest known that I know her from is on Beetlejuice. She played the bomb on Beetlejuice, but she was also
she died.
Yes, she passed away a couple of weeks ago.
She was in Schitt's Creek.
She was in Schitt's Creek.
She was phenomenal.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what? I think I knew that, but that makes me sad.
It does. You've got Scott Adams passed away, conservative commentator who started the cartoon Dilbert.
Okay.
He passed away a couple weeks ago, and they've got an AI out there that does his show. I've heard snippets of it, and that's kind of wild. It sounds just like him.
I just saw an AI with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise fighting, and they're getting sued, the people who created it, for the likeness. Is this Dilbert?
No.
Are they copyright infringing by creating it, or is it a plan?
I don't know.
Because that's cool that really they can keep it forever.
He had a wife, but I don't know. Trust me, don't sue AI now, but AI is going to take your job if you're in Hollywood.
Well, that's why we need to have some controls now where you own your likeness and you can sell the option.
It's not going to matter. Honestly, it's not going to matter because there's not going to be your likeness in 10, 15 years.
No, I get that. But for the famous stars or for a franchise like Dilbert or something to be able to sell it.
They'll be gone.
There's got to be something.
Famous stars will be gone.
I know eventually. I'm saying in this new transition with AI,
how do you
stars could
that,
sell their likeness for movies and things if they approve, and they don't have to do any work.
How do you enforce that? I mean, you take a guy that, you just make generic handsome person number, whatever. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to see. Yeah. And then the ultimate was we lost Robert Duvall. If you're a Western fan, he's the man. If he
was the man.
If like me, you're a big fan of Apocalypse Now.
What about, was he in Godfather?
He was in some Godfather and he was in other stuff. But in Apocalypse Now, if you've ever watched it, when the helicopters come over the hill playing Flight of the Valkyrie, and he's He's building like his own surfer crew. And he's the one who says the famous saying, I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yeah, he was great. And Dennis Effenbeck says Al Sharpton isn't worth giving airtime to.
And that is true. I'm not a fan of Al Sharpton.
Like he couldn't say he's the worst person to put in front of a teleprompter because he wrecks. I mean, there's so many funny phrases I think of that are Sharptisms that
Sharptisms. The worst thing about him is he's an indecent human.
Yeah, I agree.
The Tawana Brawley thing was, even when it was proved false, and he knew it was proved false, he was making money off it. So he kept rolling it, even though it had the potential to have dire consequences.
Ruining lives.
Well, ruining lives, but he would have been happy to start a race war there in New York if he made a dime off it.
It's true.
And then he discussed me, and then it discussed me that the legacy media will put him on and give him his own show. He should have been drummed out of polite society until he came back and groveled for forgiveness for something like that.
He ruined lives. Trayvon Martin, that whole thing. He was in that, and it's when he's proven to be wrong that he comes in looking to sniff out that dollar and then threatening people. I know that he was threatening people with his charity to bring the force of him down on them if they didn't donate or whatever. And the worst, most gross thing about it is he does it in the name of Christian faith. And people like that in the Bible are not good people.
Yeah, he's just, it's gross. What it is.
Jesse Jackson, he showed up in a few of those as well. And it was sad, but also I think that he started something with good heart.
He had a time of it, kind of in the beginning. And then it seemed like the last few years kind of quieted down. There was a time when, Jesse Jackson was a big mover and shaker about the government. He ran for president for a minute.
Yeah, he was friends with Donald Trump. Both of them did. Yeah. I mean, both of those, are they pastors, reverends?
Sure.
They both were big fans of Trump, and he gave a lot of money to their organizations. I mean, civil rights is nothing to even challenge. It's so important, and every player had its place back then. But yeah, Al Sharpton, he was looking for a payday at any expense, at the risk of lives, at the risk of the movement itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not a fan. Sorry, Dennis, you're right. We shouldn't even give him airtime, but we can't help ourselves sometimes.
Except for maybe to judge him.
Oh, he'll be judged. We don't even have to do it.
I mean, thank God a race war didn't kick off under those circumstances. That would have been unruly. I don't know. We may not have our first guest, Elizabeth, on. We're running past time, but hopefully Emily Buss shows up. I have sent her the link, and I have messaged.
Let's try to, we'll work out again if we can get Emily on, because we really, really want to meet these candidates. And I am especially excited to meet anyone running for school board.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know a lot of the reasons behind their running is so curious to both of us, and we want some solutions, and we're looking for people who are going to get their effort out there and see what those solutions are, because we are in a really difficult place with society versus the school board. And right now it is a versus, and it would rather be cohesive and working together. So
it feels, well, all of government. Right now, there's a big movement boiling up, and it's across all parties, across everything. Is we're done paying taxes movement.
Yeah,
And
Especially the stupid ones.
well,
Don't make no sense.
We still send weekly like $40 million to the Taliban.
That's insane.
Donald Trump sends weekly $40 million to the Taliban. Has U.S. hostages
In Afghanistan, or
yes,
just in the Middle East
in
general?
Afghanistan. Taliban is in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And we still send them money.
Make that make sense, folks.
Seriously, look, I am quickly losing faith in not just Donald Trump, but in all of government. Quickly, it just rushes over me.
No, I understand.
Like,
and you add the Epstein files and the chaos there.
Yes,
and you know what I think? It's weird. There's so many people in the Epstein files, big names.
Mm-hmm.
The FBI had that open tip line for years, so you could go and report anybody. But I feel like, and this is feeling, I don't have any proof, but it seems to me like they're announcing so many names that they're diluting the real perpetrators by all these attacks that they're doing on people who were reported or people that were mentioned by Epstein, even if they're people he never had contact with. If you've seen Shameless, the girl in Shameless, and she was in Phantom of the Opera, he tried to ask her out so many times and she politely had other plans like the whole time. But it was like, now her name's in there and there's so many different names in there that how are we going to get through the muck of who actually was a perpetrator? We need these victims.
I still think you remember how they always say, will the Epstein victims stand up? And they do, but they're being kind of quiet about stuff. Those are the ones that probably have NDAs hanging over their heads. So we need to figure out how to readjust our NDA system.
We learned though, NDAs don't hold water when what's her name with Trump? But
they would if it has a monetary threat on you. And or regardless, well, it doesn't even have to have a life threat. Regardless, let's say you one of them young ladies who were abused, where 15 years later, you got a husband, 3 kids, a dog, a house, and you get a annual postcard that says, remember the NDA. I'm the law firm that will drag you through court until you're living on the street. Win or lose, I am the law firm that'll drag you through court, which they don't even have to beat your NDA.
But would the NDA be because they were paid off a sum early on?
Almost every time.
Right. So.
But, and so you're a young lady that's been hurt, but because of this NDA system we have, you stand to get hurt even more and drag a husband and children into it. So I recognize why.
There's also another theory.
Mm-hmm.
These ladies that were in Congress, and Congress said, hey, look at them. And Pam Bondi, have you interviewed these women? Women, are you willing to interview? And there was that whole, she didn't look at them.
Yeah.
I also wonder if some of these women were victims and then became victimizers.
Oh, sure.
Because of Ghislaine, for example, she used these women to recruit more women and groomed them, and from a young age groomed them.
Yeah, she used girls to recruit more girls.
They went out and got more, and maybe they're afraid of getting arrested for that.
We're in a weird place, and this is all over the Western world. You see Great Britain's going through it with their grooming gang problems. we're going through it with our probably a lot of the same stuff. I'm sure there's grooming gangs. Ours just aren't as centered as theirs are.
Ours are embedded in our education system.
Well, our governments are the same thing. I mean, we've got the ultra wealthy that groom on one level. Great Britain, their focus has been turned on these from one area, from Kashmir area, like one county in Pakistan. Well, in Kashmir. Kashmir is neither Pakistan nor India. They both lay claim to it. It's a big old fight. Anyways, it's a different story for a different day. But it's all of them kind of from right there where it's a real tribal place. And the police are covering it up. And it sounds like they initially started to cover it up because they're afraid of being called racist. But now it sounds like they're covering it up because Great Britain is, and I'm not saying this to be hyperbolic, but Great Britain is selling their people out to these immigrants because, well, their system is collapsing and immigrants are to feed to the system. All right, we've got Emily Buss here now. So we will pull her on screen and have a chat with her. I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Hi, Emily. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Hi, Senator. How are you?
Please call me Emily. I miss hearing my first name.
So
I'm serious.
All right. Let's lay it out. You got sworn in. Was it in December that I heard?
It was yesterday, I think, marked 2 full months.
2 full months. Wow. What a
I want to hear everything because you are brand new in the Senate, and holy cow, what a life change that must have been to get thrown in just feet first.
Well, yeah, that you're in the Senate, and what is it? 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later, you're in session.
Yeah,
Probably
and I was thrown in right during Christmas break time, so I was coming up whenever there was someone from the Legislative Review Council to kind of give me a little training before the session started. So it's definitely been a whirlwind.
So
all right.
Tell me about your campaign and the special election, and then we'd like to know about the Forward Party and what
and you. We'd like to know about you.
Yeah.
Who are you? You know, what's your family, your life, your passions? Humana.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm glad we could make this work. So I'm a mom. I'm married. I have 3 kids. So all 3 of my kids have been able to come up and sit with me on the floor, which has been really, really awesome for them. They've got to lead the Pledge of Allegiance on the Senate floor, which has been just amazing experience. I'm in Eagle Mountain. I run my own nonprofit with my family, Birthday Box Foundation. I'm a licensed social service worker. I just have been involved in just serving my community just locally for a few years now. And I mean, I ran for city council in Eagle Mountain. I was the unknown name at that time, and I just narrowly missed getting elected to the incumbent. And I mean, I got so close, and I only had a $500 budget. Like I was pulling plywood out of developers' dumpsters and hand painting my own signs.
Were you running under the Forward Party, or that's nonpartisan?
No, it's nonpartisan. But the Forward Party kind of learned about me because during the municipal election, I was one of the only municipal candidates in the district to sign their pledge about basically just being like a decent person while you're campaigning. So while we were waiting for the results of that election to come out, they approached me with this crazy idea to consider this Senate seat. And I laughed. I thought they were kidding because I just wanted to get on city council. I didn't have any political background other than that campaign that year. And I had to think on that for a long time, but I decided, sure, I've just got to give it a try. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I was already feeling adrift from my party, so I switched parties, and it's been great.
So, can you tell us about the Forward Party and the platform, or the way they recruit, or
Mhm.
what is it? Is it like the Democrat or Republican, where they have a platform and then people kind of run off of that?
So, not really. They're not really like that with the platform. So there's the national party, and then each state has their own local presence, but it's up to the state leadership and like county leaders to come together and decide, okay, this is what we think our priorities should be for our state, because New York's problems are not going to have anything to do with Utah's problems. And so the party for the Utah priorities are going to be whatever they feel like Utah really needs, and just focusing on those common sense solutions to the real everyday problems. And then they bring it to the other party members to kind of rank those, I think it's 19 priorities they have right now, just in order of importance. And so they're just things like housing affordability, the environment, the Great Salt Lake, anything with immigration. You should just treat people with dignity. Whatever your stance on immigration is, just do it with dignity. And so I can bring my own, values or thoughts on whatever controversial issues I want to, but no one tells me we need you to vote this way for the party, which has been really great.
So it's
Very
more
good.
individual. So it's an
It is.
individual that's running with the backing of the party, but it's your personal values and ideas that bring up the issues that you're going to fight.
Yes. And so all of the candidates in Utah with the Forward Party, they do have those like 19 priorities that they're pretty nonpartisan, just common sense solutions to things that we should be working on for Utahns all across the state. And so those are priorities for us as well. But I don't have anyone from the party saying like, you need to do this because the party leadership wants you to, which is really nice. So I feel like everyone thinks I'm a bit of a wild card because they don't have a platform that says this is exactly how she's going to feel about every single issue here.
Yeah, I imagine.
And so I feel like I can really represent my district and my constituents because I can vote how they want me to vote, how I feel our district needs me to vote, which is really, really freeing.
So with your primary, how did that work? Did you guys vote online? Is that how voters were able to participate in your special election?
Yes, so it was approval voting. So they mailed a QR code with all this encryption stuff on it to every registered voter in the district. So the first day that it was open for online voting, they had more people participate in that election than the amount of delegates that would have chosen their replacement from either party. And so it was just open for a few days that they had that open. But I know a lot of people really liked approval voting because there were maybe one or two candidates they liked, but they didn't want to just choose one in case that one didn't win, especially with the area that we represent. It was really nice to have options, and people liked being able to vote from home, which I know that would be a long way away if that were to ever happen in Utah.
Was it ranked choice voting is what you mean by approval?
No,
where you
it's just
pick your top favorites?
Nope. It was approval. So you can select every candidate that you approve of.
Oh, gotcha.
Outstanding. No, I like eventually we're going to have to come to internet dating, because otherwise there'll be like 7 people that leave their house and show up to the polls, and
Yes.
How many got engaged during that? And I have a question, because, we have such little, unfortunately, I feel like we have such little engagement. We don't have a great voter turnout in midterm races. And, if it's not a presidential year, and here you are in a special election, almost at the end of the year, getting into holidays and all of that. What was your turnout like overall for this special election?
Yeah, I think it was either like 11 or 1,300.
1,300 total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I gotcha. So that was pretty
It
that
was
was pretty
very
neat.
confusing. Yeah, it was very confusing because like the media didn't really pick it up, so people were a little bit confused, or they thought there was another ballot that was going to come. So it was definitely kind of an experiment, I feel
Mhm.
like, and I would love if we had midterm special elections for midterm vacancies. I think the people should have a say because there are a lot of people who don't feel represented by their current leaders, and when they leave their seat, it's just, and the delegates tend to be more extreme in the political spectrum, and they're choosing their placement. And so I think a lot of people would really appreciate having a say in that special election for midterm replacements.
There's not many though, as you know, senators
Yeah.
don't normally leave their seats.
Ever.
Yeah.
um, there is that issue that people worry about as far as I don't know, fraud when you're going online. Like
Mhm.
how did they protect the voter's voice with an online voting? Do you know? I mean, did they have encrypted
Um,
voting or anything like that? Did
yes,
the clerk
everything.
oversee the election in any way?
No, because it was administered by the party. But they had the approval voting people. They were administering it, and everything was very encrypted. And you did have to also confirm your identity. So you could have a virtual appointment to show your driver's license in person, like through
Gotcha.
Zoom. And if you didn't get that QR code, there were multiple verification methods in place if you didn't get a code or couldn't figure it out.
Do you
And then they
remember
did have
what?
2 locations for in person also.
Oh,
Oh,
great.
do you remember what company ran that voting? I've got a
It,
guy I
yeah,
chatted with who runs one.
it was
Do you remember?
Civ, I think, siv.org. I don't know what it stands for though.
Okay,
You know,
I'll have to
that's
look him
what
up.
the Republican Party, I think that's the difference between having a registered party, you know, where the party gets to decide the way they choose their candidates versus a
Mhm,
party that the Republican Party has been arguing this whole thing is
mhm.
we don't want to conform to SB 54. We want our voters to choose our candidates and go through our process. And that sounds like this is what the Forward Party has done. It's gotten the state
Mhm.
out of it, ran their own election, and chose their own candidates, which is something that Republicans are really wanting to do, get the state out. But that means they have to afford to pay for their own
Well,
election.
I think the Forward Party, I think your election was ideal for a
Mhm.
good test run. I'll bet that company was excited to run it because
They were.
it's a third party, so it's not going to have vast numbers. It can be
Mhm,
they would be able to manage a controlled environment, not stretch
mhm,
themselves too far. And so
mhm.
I think it's a good test of subject. Hopefully, in 2 years they ramp up and they get a dive into something, maybe they'll have to go with like a municipal election, but something where
Yes.
the expectations are 4 times as many people, or maybe even, you know, 100 times as many people. But again, another controlled environment where they can continue to apply lessons and then eventually make it onto the stage where elections are done over a time frame instead of it's just a time frame where virtually will be
Yeah.
most of the contacts. I think that's well, we're definitely heading that way. And there's lots of ways that they've talked about securing it,
Mhm,
blockchain and things like that.
Well, I mean, 1,300 people, though, this is a very serious seat for your district.
mhm.
And you getting thrown in, I mean, right in the middle of a year, that's very rare. So now
Mhm.
you're going to get a year for before the next election. So I'm assuming the party is going to have time to actually get your message out, let people get to know you so that by next year you're going to have a lot more people engaged.
Yes,
I'm
definitely.
curious where you right now in like the bills that are coming at you, where do you stand with something like immigration, for example? Um, right now, I know I've been up at the Capitol quite a bit and seeing a vast difference between Republicans and Democrats. Where do you find yourself in that argument?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like whatever we're doing, we shouldn't just be ripping families apart, families who have mixed status here, and there has to be a better way to do it. I feel like we were kind of lied to as a country about the criminals that they would be taking away and how they would be removed. And I think there have got to be better solutions to doing it. I mean, my son's identity was stolen by an illegal immigrant using it for work. So, I mean, my family's been impacted by that in that way. And I just think there are more humane ways to deal with these things. That doesn't mean we need to let illegal immigrants stay here, but we don't need to be destroying families in the process.
I'm not asking this to push back on it.
Mm.
I am not a Republican, and I have expressed my consternation with our current system as it is. But on the same token, I wonder if we're not being hit from two fronts by misleading media and circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So here in Utah, we haven't seen any of the ICE raids, correct?
I know there was something in Salt Lake area where some windows in a shop were broken because they were chasing someone recently. I don't know a lot about that situation though, but I think that's kind of the
I would need-
extent of it.
In
I would
Utah,
want to-
we're allowing
I would
Yeah.
like to look into that to find out
Mhm.
for sure, because that could have been a everyday police chase or whatever. But it seems to me all these circumstances that are pointed to are in these sanctuary places where the city and or state have decided not to work with the feds in upholding whatever deal is going on.
Mhm.
And I think that's also dangerous for the immigrants, where here in Utah,
It is.
where our legal system, if they get someone who's an illegal on orders to be deported or extradited home or whatever, our legal system works with them and it's clean.
Mhm.
And-
come get them where they are. So in
and
court
rather less
or at
abusive.
jail or prison.
But you
Yes.
hear about it in Minnesota or LA or wherever else, and it's almost like we've hit ridiculousness where people are trying to start a civil war where
Mhm.
at every turn they've got to needle the other side is at the cost of even their own people. And that's
Yeah.
both sides. It's not a
No, I
It's a
agree.
dangerous game.
It is. It is really scary. Like my sixth grader will come home hearing things about ICE raids from classmates with older siblings, and it sounds like it's stuff out of movies that he's hearing about, and it's happening in other states. And it is, yeah, I hate what's happening.
yeah, and then it's also the way the media portrays it. Look,
Mhm.
if we want to continue as a nation, we've got to turn our backs on them. That's just outright. And that's all of them across the board.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I've already
agenda-driven.
seen how they'll just grasp at straws to find some clickbait headline. Like I did a little podcast on my very first day, just talking about the Ford Party and how I've been welcomed so far, basically. And the headline was something like, a third-party legislator talks about the struggles of a Republican stronghold in the Senate. And I never once even said the word Republican or struggle or anything like that. So, I mean, I've seen the ways the media can kind of play
Yeah, be
things.
careful, friends,
It's-
because
Yeah.
they will misquote you. In fact, if you ever do an interview with the Tribune or Deseret News or whatever, record it yourself because they are ridiculous.
Well,
And they'll put words in your mouth or they'll draw an agenda. And it's by design to make people like me. I am a proud Republican. I work very hard as a Republican, but I am excited to get to know this process. I'm excited to hear about you and the way you
Mhm.
want to vote and think. and an agenda driven news media is going to turn me off to the point where I'm angry at the thought of even talking to you.
It's not just that,
It's by
but
design.
they try to make you angry because anger makes you read on. Anger's a huge motivator for everyone, all sides. But
it just fuels it.
I named this episode "Bloodthirsty Monsters," but it was just. But
that
anyways,
puts a target on you in the Senate to where Republicans won't work with you and Democrats won't work with you. And before you know it, you've done nothing wrong, but the press has made you out to be something because you're different, because you're a different party and you are a loose cannon because they don't know how you're going to vote.
Yeah.
They're all just mystified right now, I think.
I'm sure.
I did read those. I didn't read the full stories, but they talked about how you're having woes up in the Senate and whatever else. But go ahead and lay it out. How was your experience in this session?
It's been a lot better than I was expecting.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of expecting there to be just a few days of kind of fake niceness just to make sure everything looked good. And then like the calls would come out and I'd see how they really felt about me. But everyone from every party has been very nice and respectful and gone out of their way to make sure that I know if there's anything they can do to help me, to reach out. And I've been working with both parties on things because there are things both parties do that I can get behind. Everything doesn't have to be so partisan. And
for you.
Everyone has to work together. So, I mean, I'm in an island with the Democrats because that's where Senator Thatcher was. So if you see any pictures of me, it's going to look like I'm either by myself or I'm just kicking it with the Democrats because they're the only ones that they can get in pictures just by angles. But I've worked very well with everybody. I've had people come up and tell me like, I've really enjoyed working with you. It's been really great to have you. I genuinely enjoy having you. And lobbyists have told me that they've heard Democrats and Republicans say that they've actually really enjoyed working with me and they wish I would switch to their party because I'd have a really good chance of getting reelected. And I mean, I don't know how much of that's genuine, but it's been a very pleasant experience so far.
And I just want to point out when she says she's in an island with the Democrats, she's not saying she just pals around and eats lunch with them. She's saying that her seat is with the Democrat side because she's in a Republican majority.
Yes,
structure.
Thank you for clarifying that. And I'm on the very
I
end
to
there.
Make sure people
Let's avoid islands completely with what's going on in the world.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that was a clarification. But no, has there been any bills that well, here's one thing that I've learned since chatting with politicians is the stuff that they choose to study and look into in preparation, they tend to come across with, they learn information that is sometimes shocking and sometimes interesting and kind of changes them. And I understand you may not want to publicly put it out there because I wouldn't expect you to, if you hear about something that's going on, but you've got to approach it from a politician mindset instead of just kicking the doors open.
Or she has all the facts and the public doesn't.
But like one of the big ones was learning about how down in Delta, Utah, how the town is kind of a company town for an energy conglomerate from California. And they really get kind of abusive with not just the town, but with our state. And I'm not using that as something you should know or need to know, but I learned about that and how that kind of made him to where he had to approach his legislative duties differently. But, what's your, like, is there any interesting takeaways that you feel free to reflect on?
I mean, it's just it's been very eye-opening just to see the whole process and see like certain people definitely have specific motives. Other people have passion projects that they're working on. Other people are really just representing what the constituents are bringing to them. And then others are running bills for organizations. It's just such a broad spectrum of, I guess, motivations behind bills. But But I definitely feel like, I mean, I've seen how it seems like a lot of the Republican bills we've seen lately are either cutting taxes so they can say they cut taxes, even though it's going to hurt us with our property taxes raising to make up for that income tax cut that was funding education. Or it's all election driven bills that they're all running, or anti-immigration bills. So I mean, I wish it wasn't the way it was right now, but it's kind of obvious certain motivations right now, at least.
Certainly got thrown into the fire, didn't you?
I did.
I would like to know who and how are you accountable? How do people, like, how do you know what your district wants? I mean, he lives in your district. Is the
I'm one of
Forward
your
Party
constituents.
All right.
do you reach out through the Forward Party? Do they go straight to you, your website? How do people get in touch with you and share their opinions?
So I'm receiving thousands and thousands of emails and phone calls and text messages, and apparently I'm one of the few who actually responds to my emails. And like I
Gosh,
have
how
a
do
bill
you?
tracker. I have a bill tracker where I'm like marking down, okay, this many constituents contacted me for or against this bill. So if there's something that I am undecided on, I just look, okay, the majority want me to vote this way, so I'm going to vote that way. But I actually respond to constituents and I explain this is where I'm leaning on this bill, or I'm just learning about this one, but I'm glad you reached out and shared your perspective. And I've had so many constituents email me back saying, like, I can't believe you even responded to me, let alone it wasn't an automated message. So I think just the constituents can see that I am accountable and that I'm listening. And I've had random people just message and email me saying, I know you were the only one who voted no in committee, but thank you for doing what the people were actually asking you. So I think the people who are paying attention and the people who are actually contacting me, I think it's pretty obvious to them that I'm very accountable to them.
You mentioned bill tracker, right?
Mhm.
I think that's something that the legislators have, the legislators, they have.
Mhm.
So this is something I want to put to people.
Mhm.
They're counting, folks. If your emails are getting there, like there are legislators that are watching and doing what you just said, where they're like, okay, these are the constituents who are so passionate about this, and this is their view. I don't think people realize that even if they don't hear back, their emails getting counted
Mhm.
and tracked. And so it always is important to reach out and give those
It is.
legislators your opinion. And bless you for being able to answer people back. I don't know where you find the time.
My input is great and very
Oh, good.
helpful. But I mean, like, I tell her, okay, this is how I want you to answer every email about this issue. And if they're saying they're for it, tell them that this is my thought. If they're against it, tell them this is my thought. So she might copy and paste some stuff for me, but it is 100% my opinion and my words.
That's great. That's amazing, especially being brand new to this and just thrown into the fire and very little training. I mean, you didn't have all that
Yeah.
training time that someone new would get. And you are the pretty butterfly in the room because they don't know how you're going to vote. I think that would be insane to get to know you and say, well, you're not required to vote a certain way. You're not you are the odd person out to where everyone's
Yeah.
just waiting, going, well,
And
where does she lean?
And no one should be required to vote a certain way. That's what I really don't like about the two-party politics, is that they're not voting the way their constituents are asking them. Because in certain committee meetings, I know that I'm getting the exact same emails as everyone else on the committee, and everyone else knows hundreds of people are begging them to vote this way, but they're still voting how they want to or how they're told they have to vote. And I'm the only one voting the way that people are asking us to vote. So it is interesting.
Is there anything you've taken away from this session that you plan on like digging into real hard, that you something new that you learned about or that you heard about in this session that you want to dig in real hard to be prepared to take on next session? Is there any, I don't know, interesting tidbits?
Yeah, I really don't like you can throw in a substitution last second that completely changes what the bill is going to do. And then you just vote on it. And all of a sudden, that bill you've been tracking and trying to make sure it's something you can live with for a few weeks, now it's a completely different bill. And everyone else just votes the way they had been, not realizing how different that they had made that substitution. And there has to be a way that we can enforce some type of, like, at least a 24-hour period when that substitution is released before we can make a final vote, so that the public and the legislators can actually read and comprehend what they're voting on now that it's a completely different bill. There needs to be some time between that final vote when it's changed so much.
And you've seen the
Amen.
inside. You can probably see what the best way to manage that'd be.
Well, like a
Yeah.
one-page bill, perhaps.
I like
Or
single issue bills.
You
I
have
like
to be able to read the entire bill before it ever goes to the floor, and it's got to be something you can digest and study. I mean, that's not crazy. That's common sense.
Exactly. But common sense
sounds
is
insane.
not so common these days.
it's
learning.
very, very uncommon.
You know,
Yeah.
something as it's important to me, that the reason I like my party and the members of my party representing me, the platform that we have with God, with life, with guns and the Constitution and these things, I expect Republicans to vote based on that platform. What I'm seeing in the country right now, not in Utah, but I'm seeing it in DC the most, is that we can't differentiate between the parties in a lot of these issues, and they're not following our platform. And it's a lot of kick the can down the road. It's a lot of infighting. It's a lot of policy, glitching, like what you're saying, last minute substitution or amendment or pork that's getting thrown into these bills. There's not enough time to read it, let alone to understand it and vote on it. And, that's something I love about our platform, is that I feel like I know who's going to vote, and I see it in this state. But what I don't like is the games. And we're seeing that in our state too.
Yeah. And I mean, I wish that there was a way that we could just say, like, okay, we can only have this many bills that are focused on the platform issues. We need to focus on the issues like affordability and water and things like that, instead of focusing all of our time on the controversial issues, because we have, 2 weeks left? Today, I heard the first bill about water.
Yeah.
Haven't heard one about housing yet.
What solutions are there for water? And I think if we aided the water problem, I think that would enable us to build more, which would aid the housing problem, because it's simple supply and demand on that. But
you got to make water appear out of the sky.
What solutions do we have on water? What are some, actually, I shouldn't ask solutions. What are some of the roadblocks with water that need to be addressed?
I think water is very confusing to understand to begin with, because there's paper water, there's real water. Some of it exists, some of it doesn't exist at all. Like in Eagle Mountain, they stopped selling water shares with residential units so that there was going to be water left for commercial units, because we need commercial to come eventually. I think that's a possible solution that more cities who are in a more dire situation should explore, so that they will have some commercial tax base in the future. I think one other solution is high density housing makes the water problem worse. People keep saying, well, they don't have a yard, so there's not going to be as much water wasted. But if you pack hundreds and hundreds of people into that small little acreage, they're all taking showers, washing dishes, flushing toilets. That part of the water it seems like it's not being considered as much. And I feel like we're wasting more water on high density than we are on just a tiny little yard versus actual starter homes. And I think all of the alfalfa that we're watering, why are we doing that?
Was it a business? Alfalfa?
Yeah, alfalfa. is, I
Feeding
think, around
horses
here
and-
mostly for livestock.
And we're on the same page as far as high density. Out in this county, we're restricted by how much land is around us, and we want to be able to maintain the land that we have, but the government has got their foot down, and we'll have to build up and not out eventually. But why aren't they talking about freedom and individual rights? And they're throwing property tax in our face constantly for an education system that's not working, and solutions like, I don't know, different types of yards. Like, how about stop laying grass? Let's do a Utah friendly yard with dirt and rocks and things like that. But we do need businesses, but taking water shares from people who buy homes, like, I don't understand how that works. And I think that's where it gets confusing for a lot of people. Because do I own the water to my home? Do I not?
It's the developer. They can buy the water shares and bring it with them from somewhere else. I don't understand that part of it.
Is that a developer thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
When the developer builds, he buys water shares for the mathematical amount of how many developments he's building. I wonder if the municipality,
there's an open market of water shares they can get it on too, though.
That's on
what they have to
paper,
do.
right?
Yeah,
To
it's all
actually have
very
the
confusing.
water and the infrastructure to go to this development and actually know there's an aquifer here, and you're getting so much of said aquifer. Like, there is on paper water.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if municipalities said to the developer, if you zeroscape, we'll approve your development with less water shares required. So, but that would be the developer would have to put forward the cost of zeroscaping. But
I mean, those are definitely some incentives that municipalities could work out, and I think they should explore. I know in Eagle Mountains, someone was trying to push for no backyards, no grass in the front yard, but then that was shot down because what about townhomes that don't have a backyard? If the little front yard is all that they have, we can't say that can't be grass. So there are all these unique situations and other perspectives to think of. And I think the problem is a lot of people do want a yard, and you're entitled to a yard if you're paying for it. But there are so many alternatives like clover and other walkable greens that you can use instead of like Kentucky bluegrass that's not going to thrive out here. So there's so many different avenues to explore, incentives for water-wise landscaping from either developers or cities or the state. There's a lot that can happen.
True.
Like, you go down to Arizona and Southern Nevada, and they all seem to have different ideas. And I wonder if that's just naturally driven or if that's something that's written in the municipalities. And then to top it off,
the environmental factor too.
Yeah. Well, and then you top it off. Now, here we are talking about different ideas for people to deal with in their yard. How much grass is at the Eagle Mountain City Hall?
Oh yeah, probably.
I mean, just a little bit, and then it's just like undeveloped fire hazard field.
But that's where I'm at here. I'm like, I remember when our city and county talked about, we should really everyone try, and I'm like,
well, you also have
set an example for us.
Nevada and Arizona, their backyards, a lot of them are paved with a swimming pool because of the heat, but then they live in HOAs who not only require you to have grass, but you can only have it be this long, and that's in the front, and it must be a specific grass. And I mean,
I don't know.
Vegas, I lived in Vegas. Water is diamonds there. It's gold.
That is water is a huge deal. And I work on the lake, and my business is intrinsically tied to the lake. Like, without the lake, I don't have a job anymore.
A lot of people don't have a job.
Yeah. And so I want to see the lake survive. I would like to see my business be able to expand and have all that.
Well, we're known for it. It's part of our economic industry here too. And
it's our whole county's industry.
I still think Bangerter made a Faustian pact when he built that pump.
What pump?
The Bangerter pump out there on the west side of the lake. They built it. It cost, I can't remember, it was like $80 million in
What
the
does it
late
do?
80s. He was our governor. Do you, either
Yeah.
you know who Bangerter
Yeah.
is?
Yeah, they named a highway after him, but what does
Yeah.
the pump do? Does it bring water from the mountain?
No, it pumped water out of the lake out into the salt flats. They turned it on once,
Wow.
and we've been at a drought ever since.
Wow, I didn't know
So
that.
it's diverting the water from the lake.
Of course, there was
Yeah,
a
I
time
think-
when that lake flooded.
Yeah.
Was that why you turned it on, or?
Well, yes. When I was a kid, driving across I-80 was driving across an island.
I remember it was.
Yeah, it was water on both
flooded.
sides. The water was
Mhm.
coming almost to the blacktop when I was a kid. And
I remember all the sailboats and everything was thrown off to the side.
Mhm. And so, you know,
We should get to comments.
economies and seasons are changing. But yeah, we do, you know, we don't want to keep you much longer. I'm interested to see what you do come next session. You've got your, you know, your feet are wet now. You know what it looks like. You've got a year to grind into a couple of
Mhm.
things. Maybe, I don't know how it works. Maybe, you know, I don't know if you sell your soul to the devil or if you
That's
have
not
to,
me. That's
you know,
not me.
however you got to do it.
Yeah.
Politicians do politician-y things to do politician stuff. But, you know,
I'm just a
whatever you
regular
gotta
person,
do.
though. I
Yeah,
don't
some
want to be
politicians go into
a
politics
politician.
because they're exhausted with what's happening, and it's their one way to do something to give back. And
And that's why I wanted
think
to be on
there's-
city council. That's how I
Right.
got here.
And people like that who she doesn't know if she's going to be reelected. She doesn't know
I
how
don't-
this is going to end, but she did something. She made a mark, and things are going to be better in some way or not. When you're not there for power or longevity and you're trying to get as much done as you can and do it right and efficient, I've got so much respect for that. Because
I'm just a mom who wanted to make a difference because I wasn't
Right.
happy with how it was going. And I've only got this 1 year guaranteed. So I'm just going to do the most good I can for my constituents while I can and hope that I 4 more years to show them what I can really do when I have
Well,
time.
that's what I was saying.
please
I,
make sure they drop our
I was-
property taxes. This is insane.
I was just saying, I hope that I'm excited to see a third party come. I like the idea of third parties. I lean kind of libertarian myself or constitutional party. And I would like to see that flood in more. I don't know if I want to see a parliamentary system
No.
build up because England is going through it. I mean, it's rough when you wake up and every day of the week, like the calendar has who's your prime minister
Right.
this day. I mean, that was a rough patch. they
That's
had.
crazy. I mean,
But I would like to see you. I would like to see what you come back with.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the Forward Party. I went to your guys's election party 4 years ago or 6 years ago, whatever, hung out there. That was a good time. When January ran for Congress the first time, that would have been January Walker, and you know, and we went there, and I met a lot of them, and you know,
watched your debate on this last one.
yeah, interesting guys. So I'm excited to see what you do, see what you come back with, and really excited that you're going to be coming back with a message that will have more formulation by yourself than with
Mhm.
party added in.
I would like to see
Yeah.
you do an end of session town hall, even if you did it via Zoom, where people can tune in and you give a rundown. I'm so curious about your ideas regarding ivermectin and that vote, not letting people have the right to buy it over the counter. That was really crazy to me that they wouldn't want more freedom. At the end of the day, I think you give people more freedom. I say give in quotes. But that's what our government is supposed to require. That is what our Constitution requires. And that's troublesome. David Weiss, he has left some comments, and say hi to Fred. He's on watching.
what's up,
Hi,
man?
Fred. David said, and this is referring to when you said delegates tend to be more extreme. You
Mhm.
said extreme as in extremely informed, David is saying. Now, coming from the side of a delegate, we
Mhm.
spend whatever weeks we have between caucus and convention in front of candidates, studying them, learning about them. So we do come across as extreme, but personally, I report back to my precinct and I'm trying to get there like a republic is supposed to work. And a lot of us are just super informed when it comes to policy and politicians and people. So I think he was like, hey, not all of us are extremes. He said most voters are not involved with politics to a substantial degree. And that's absolutely right. Prop 4 was voted on by 6,000 Utahns out of 3 million. When you have such a little tiny group of a state making these giant decisions, whether it's for a Senate seat or for a specific bill or a proposition, that should make every person in Utah go, whoa, I should at least vote, right? I should at least participate. And your party's making it so everyday Utahns can. If they're a registered voter, just register to vote, folks. And you'll get stuff like this in the mail and you get a say. And who knows, you might put a new senator in and somebody that's engaging with you.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot less engagement than we wish there was, because people feel like their vote doesn't count or they're voting for the lesser of two evils. So why bother? And you still got to get involved. And if that's how you feel, try to be a delegate in your area so that you have more of a say in that way for the midterm appointments. And just
your party
get involved, however
delegates?
small. They're just, especially my district, with it being such a large and strange boundary, there were not a ton of them in my district. So that's why they opened it up to the whole district to also just be an experiment to show like politics can work when everyone's involved, not just delegates. And everyone should be involved.
Yeah.
With your odd district, would you run your caucus maybe on Zoom or something? What are the ideas?
Explore. Yeah, so for the convention, I'm not sure the location of it yet, but I'm open to exploring all the ideas for caucusing.
I'd like to come to your convention.
Well, I'm curious how someone would become a delegate for the Forward Party. Is there an organized attempt to do that? Is what you're saying? Is they're trying to establish delegates for each district? Or is it still a free-for-all?
So I think there is a process. I'm not super familiar with it because I just went from joining the party to all of a sudden being senator. I can get you more information really soon, though.
Oh, perfect. You've got our email. Just, update us.
David says we need more third-party players. And I agree, because even if you and I disagree on many issues, you're challenging the people I tend to agree with. And that keeps me learning. And I want to see what different ideas and solutions. If we keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, that's insanity, right?
Yeah.
I think with education in this state, we're seeing the same thing over and over and not getting a better result or a different result. And I want fresh eyes in there to go, this doesn't make sense. Let's do something different and let's really dive in, because right now the people of this state are getting ripped off by property taxes and school boards that aren't listening. They're not listening to them. So
Holly went into the school board meeting and everybody in the populace told them, do not raise our taxes.
200 plus people.
The next morning they went and raised
that night.
Or that night they voted to raise the taxes. And that's one affront. But the other one is, I don't know if you've seen Deseret Peak High School's school.
No, I don't think so.
You should take a look.
Okay.
It's collegiate.
It's huge. Okay. It's ridiculous. And then for the school board to come in and say they didn't hold back on trying to build this temple to their greatness. And then they come in and say they want to raise our taxes. And that unnerved a lot of people. And they wanted to raise it by, what was it?
They missed $50 million in the production of this building.
Yeah. And
then came back to us to fund it.
And the year before, they defrauded some kind of online learning thing, which got money taken away also. So they did a whole bunch of screw ups and then came and said, all right, now you guys pay for it.
And our teacher morale is garbage. And our test results out of our kids is
Yeah.
terrible. And when you come to the public and 200 people tell you no, not one person defended that. And they voted in their face, which is essentially slapping everyone in the face. And they did so in a way that was very conniving. Like 2 of you are going to vote against it. The rest of you are going to vote for it. You 2 are up for re-election. So they're playing on the fact that people won't get engaged. And we have a lot of people in your district furious.
Mhm.
And they're furious because they get 76% of our property tax. They get the option to tax us more and more and more. And people cannot afford the rise in a home they bought 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 3 years ago at already high prices. And then to turn around and now you have to come up with an additional $300 because the school district is paying administrators way too much, teachers too little, and our
Yeah.
kids aren't any smarter. Our graduation
What
rates
was
aren't
the
any smaller.
proposed tax they voted yes on? The state shut him down.
Utah Tax Commission said you did not alert the meeting properly. Now they'll do it again.
What was
And they
the
won't make a
percentage they
mistake.
wanted to
I
raise
don't
it?
even remember. I just know that it would have cost
it was
a
like
lot.
it was like 80%
It was high.
per individual household.
And this was everywhere around the state. And the tax commission said, you did not alert these meetings properly. You do not get this tax. And we got to take a deep breath
Mhm.
along with other districts like Box Elder and Washington and these other people that had that same thing happen. They're not going to make a mistake next time. And we
Yeah.
need people defending us at the state. We need people to put these school boards in their place in some way or another because they're blaming you. They're blaming the rules at the legislature or the state school board, which is a partisan,
Mhm.
by the way. They're not. And until we know how these people are going to handle budgets and if they're conservative, if they're liberals, we have to figure out who these people are because most people don't even know who their school board members
Mhm.
are at our
Yeah,
own
I-
detriment.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of the problem with the funding of education comes from every year we just trim a tiny bit off of the income tax, which is one of the only, other than property tax, that's the only other thing that funds the schools. So when one goes down, the other has to go up. And property tax, just because the value of our homes, any slight increase is going to be a much larger number.
We're paying on unrealized gains.
Mhm.
Your house is worth
It is.
nothing if it's not for sale.
Exactly.
And now you're forcing this sale, and a lot of retirees, they can afford it, and they're losing their homes over it.
Oh, yeah. I knew
we're
plenty of people in
for
Connecticut who
people.
lost their houses over paid off houses. They couldn't afford the astronomical property tax on the paid off house. And it's ridiculous. And I do worry with how property taxes are going to rise and we're going to be priced out of homes even more than we already are.
And then it won't matter because there will be no property to tax.
And you never own your home. You
I'm
never
serious.
own your home. You rent
Yeah.
it from the government your entire life.
I have a saying. What's my saying? The government only does one thing.
Turns everything to crap.
Turns gold into shit. That's all the government has ever done. You can go back to Samaria at the ziggurats when the priest was standing up there. He was up there turning gold into shit. And you come today and governments, no offense to you government officials, but all you're doing is turning gold into shit.
Well, and Kay
Yeah.
Mortensen makes a great point. Kay Pratt. Hi, Kay. Thank you for joining us. She says, and the tax increase never goes away. It compounds year after year. And the state of Utah pays WPU out of our state income tax. $4,700 per year. Our property tax is separate money. This is, to me, it's scary because we need somebody to be defending these middle-class folks or these young teens or young families that are just trying to get into their first home. And our retirees who did everything right and they paid off their home. Now they're on a fixed income and we don't have somebody. I mean, we have a couple that are really, really trying, but we need fierce people up there saying, no, you're ripping the people off. Our kids are not getting better educated. And these people cannot afford homes. that they signed up for with the income that they had. You're making them pay for unrealized gains. That's insanity.
I do have to argue on the retiree thing. I know I bring this up every time and everyone hates me for it, but when those retirees weren't retired, they were perfectly happy to levy these taxes on their retired parents.
What do you mean?
Just saying.
You mean the politicians?
No, the very individuals.
How?
They voted in all the laws, all these new taxes, all these new groups.
Oh, I got you.
They was all built under their watchful eye of wanting a big government to protect their future. Now that they're retired, they're like, oh no, wait, that was bad. I know my dad paid this, but I don't want to. I'd rather have my kids pay it.
Yes, but also wages were pretty
Good back then.
valuable compared to
they were pretty
the
good under the
dollar was
retirees when they
worth
were
something.
working. And then the retirees voted in the very things that diluted our income too. No, look, you're right. And I love all my boomer family. I'm not saying this about you. I get attacked. Every time I say this, I get attacked for it. The boomers get this because they're the largest voting bloc in history. Everyone would want this. The boomers get it because there's more of them. That's the only reason. Everyone else, I guarantee you, the silence, the greatest, us Gen Xers would love to have it. But no, we're not going to get that because the boomers are the biggest group. Now, what the Gen X is going to get, myself, yourself, we're going to get handed the repercussions.
Right.
So I hope we're all ready to die in our kids' houses. Anyways, we've had you on here for an hour.
Kay says WPU, weight pupil unit per student. Between those two amounts, 11,000 per student per year. And we still are not educating our kids. They're still getting left behind. They're still having low turnout rates. I don't want to get you in a call,
Yes.
but you're going to have education votes coming up, right? On spending, as well as I personally would really like to see, I would like to see not bipartisan. I want to be able, what's the word? I don't want municipality nonpartisan races in education. They handle enormous budgets. They have a taxing entity responsibility. And I want to know how they spend their money, what they view as important. I want to know what their values are. And whether it be forward party values or Republican or Democrat, I think that they are the last seat that we need to know where they stand. Just like the state school board. I think they should have to run in races claiming a banner of some sort. I know that's coming up.
I can appreciate that from that perspective, but I think also the problems are each school district has such a different like a growth or a decline issue that, I mean, like my district here, the new Lake Mountain School District, and no matter how conservative anyone on the school board is, the matter is they still have to build one brand new school every year just to keep up with the bare minimum growth. And so there are those other factors that are going to impact.
But that's a legislative problem.
Yeah, Eagle Mountain
at legislature, you guys get to decide, stop building these schools for what's needed right now, build them based on what the growth is at the surveyor's office and how many new builds are coming. Right now, they built a school too small because it wasn't accommodating for future growth.
They
can't with impact fees in Utah, though.
The school is wild. Please come up here. I'll meet up with you and we'll drive by the school. They built the school without any pure utility in mind. So it's got these vast open atriums that are 3 stories tall of dead space. So that's
a collegiate football field. A
huge structure you have to heat and cool. And it's not a classroom. It's not it's a usable space, but it's a big, but anyways, please come up. Jordan says, come up.
We're happy
Shoot
to host
me an email.
you.
We'll go for a ride. Jordan says, I totally agree. Anger doesn't solve anything. We need to listen to each other. I need to meet Emily. I wish there were libertarian elected.
She's not a libertarian.
Yes, no, he says that different. He needs to meet you, and he also wishes that libertarians would get elected. It's good to see representatives like Emily being accountable to the people. You hardly see that a lot in politics these days. Both very true. That's the last of our comments for Emily. Emily, thank you for coming on. I am excited to see what you come back with next year.
And I know you're so busy and taking the time out tonight in the middle of the week with everything you've got, and you've got kids and a family.
I live
my
in the
hat is off to
hotel
you.
during the week right now. So
That's
But
tough.
Good.
it's hard.
But
It is.
I'm so I as a mom, I totally I feel your passion. Trust me, I filed to run for legislature, and I am just like, I just want to do it for my community, and I get that
Mhm.
passion, and you want to do it right. And I know it's probably scary to go on podcasts after somebody has totally misquoted you. Use this podcast any way you like. We are not editing it in any way.
It's just
And
live.
you're welcome anytime. And if you want to come out and do something in Tooele County and meet with your constituents, reach out
Yes.
to us. We know people, and we
Yeah,
happy
I'd love to.
to get you in front of folks. Or if you do a Zoom, you know, we'll get you in front of folks. People need to be engaged with their
Should have been
legislators.
flipping
Yeah.
a coin when you said we know people. Make it all kind of gangster.
We do know.
But yeah, I mean, I'd love to come out. Tooele is a huge block of my constituents. And before the session started, since it was such a quick little training and jump in period there, I emailed every single city manager, city council member, mayor for all this, many cities I represent, just introducing myself, saying like, this is my contact info. Please let me know bills as they come up that you're concerned about, what your top like priorities and concerns are. And I was only able to meet with 2 cities before the session started, and they were like, wow, this has never happened. Thank you for coming to talk to us, because I mean, they know the people I represent better than anybody
They do.
at this point. And yeah, they know all the local issues, and that's what we need to keep: local control, local representation. So I'd love to come to Tooele, see more. I know you guys have the worst property tax for schools. So yes, we need
Yeah.
to fix something. I wish there was a way we could just tax homes for the value it was when you bought it. It stops increasing at that point.
Or you pay for it
Oh,
when you buy it, and when you sell
Mhm.
it, the new buyer pays for it.
Mhm.
And you know, we find a different way to fund schools.
I've got crazy ideas on schools. Like, I don't like that we build these big structures that sit empty half the year. I think just a huge money pit. It's like owning a
They
boat.
do rent them out a lot, and it's expensive to rent
But-
Trust
them
me,
out. But
I
they
do
do.
know.
No, they rent them out. It's
Mhm.
expensive. It's not very often.
I don't know. I mean, sports brings in a lot of
I
money.
want to see
Yeah.
the schools occupied 5 days a week,
How cool would it be
52 weeks. Like,
if a college used the school at night to teach a university
Yeah.
wild
program?
idea.
Or a
And they
community
paid-
center.
They
You know.
paid the fees for keeping it
What
open,
if-
and a college actually came in, like a community college funded
Yeah.
by the community.
What if sports was county rec designed and the schools didn't tie this big old water consuming grassland next to it?
Sports
if
funds
that-
these schools.
That they have to then all year round manage for that little short time they get to use.
The biggest money is coming into schools through those programs.
Just saying, what if? No, the biggest money coming into those schools is from us.
No, absolutely.
From us,
But
the biggest
they're
money.
spending the money on these sporting
I would like to.
places
I would
because
like
it's
to
got a
see.
return.
I would like to see a
Mhm.
breakdown if the sports makes enough to pay for that football field. How many years until that football field equalizes?
I don't think that it does actually.
That's what I'm saying.
But they keep coming to
But
us
county
for more.
rec, you know, the kids show up, mom and dad pay a little bit of money, and then they play said sport.
And then,
And
get
then the
rugby
county
and
rec,
frisbee golf and things like that could be done when it's not football season.
it's kind of
But
crazy, right?
We've
But
kept
anyways,
you way over.
yes, thank you so much, Emily. You've been outstanding. I know I've been excited to talk to you. I saw when you got elected. I happen to think I was friends with Senator Thatcher You know, like the guy, you know, and when he stepped back and you stepped in, I was like, all right. Well, when he stepped back, then they had the race, and then you hear all the run up to the race. These are the names and then everything else. And then they said Emily Bus won from Eagle Mountain. At first I heard Stansbury Park. I'm like looking up an Emily Bus in Stansbury Park.
That wouldn't be right.
And it said Eagle Mountain. So then I did
That's not even your
cross-reference,
district.
and
Yeah.
Wikipedia let me down a path, and then I landed on you. But no, I'm
Watching
excited.
the debate, I thought the right person won. I
Yeah.
thought you were in a race with well-intentioned people, but you were the most, I don't know. I found more into you, and I think you were the right candidate.
Well,
Thank you.
I know you're not doing this for the money.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
The per
what do you-
hour that we
Don't you
spend
make
up
like
here is-
$175 this month off it or something?
and if you count down to the hours, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but
Yeah.
so and of course, thank your family, your husband, your children for allowing you to step forward and represent us, and because they're losing time with you too.
I'm
I
sure
mean,
they're very proud.
right now your husband's probably
Yeah.
making or probably putting the kids to bed and
Yeah.
just got done cooking them their meal, and they're like, Mom does it better.
He just
But,
got a full-time job,
you know,
Yeah.
2 full-time jobs.
but and
Yeah.
I look forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah, I'd love to come back after the session's over, talk with you
Perfect.
guys once all the craziness is over.
Yeah, we could do like a virtual town hall here in
Yeah.
studio, and
Oh,
you
we
could
do
go
a
over.
tell-all. We'll get one of them
your-
voice changers and have you sitting in front of a window
All
so
right.
you're all backlit.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank
and
you so
everybody,
much.
thank you for tuning in tonight and for taking this ride with us and meeting Emily. It's Emily.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
Emily,
for calling me
your
Emily,
time.
not Senator.
That's the thing is you don't know what to do. And Thatcher was a really good friend. And I'm grateful that he served the way he did. And this whole new thing was a lot. So I admire you for jumping in, and I don't envy you. It's got to be a really trial by fire right now, right?
It
Baptism
is.
by fire.
It is. I'm enjoying it though. So I think everything else is going to be slow and boring once this is over. Like I
Right.
can't think of anything else that would be this crazy, this pace.
Knock on wood, girl,
Yeah.
because they got things called special session that
Yeah.
boom, you're called in and it's crazy again.
I mean,
but-
with the redistricting stuff, I'm sure there'll be a lot of those actually.
There
Yeah.
might be.
Well,
We'll see.
thank you for
All
your
right.
time.
Emily, have a wonderful night. We hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
Sure.
ma'am. We'll talk to you later.
Okay. Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Oh, that's another thing we got to mention. You guys got all your signatures, right?
We did.
Boom, like 200,
200,000.
200,000. Everyone's like, nah, they're not going to do it.
No, the Tribune,
Yeah.
the garbage rag called the Tribune made it sound like we were nowhere close and that people are running to get their names off.
They've only got 56,000. That's all they could get.
It's agenda driven, and they call themselves a representation of Utah values. Are you kidding me? What do they-
They're-
Did you guys see on a separate note? Because I know we got to go, but did you see that Tucker Carlson was detained in
It
Israel?
was questioned by the Israeli TSA, the ISA.
He was asked to, according to the press, they're saying that he is claiming he was detained. Well, he's saying no. They didn't ask me passport questions or anything. They asked me about my interview with Mike Huckabee that I had just had there. Now, if I'm him, I probably avoid going to Israel. Don't you? And then again,
He's been,
he said he was going to buy property in Qatar because he can.
yeah.
But Tucker Carlson, I mean, you don't detain Tucker Carlson.
I don't know. I look,
That would be a nightmare for Israel.
seriously, Israel's walking a fine line. They're threading the needle, though. They are threading it. They have maintained as much support as they need to through everything. Again, I come to the Israel Gaza question with almost no opinion on it.
I mean, at this point, it's hard to even have
I'm
one.
seriously kind of a gray man on it because both sides have done some pretty rough things, and both sides have been pretty benevolent. And well, I don't. Yes, and both sides are in a pickle.
And the
Now,
propaganda
if I
is
had to choose a
ridiculous.
neighbor, oh, that's also a tough one. So it's all a very, thank God I live over here, so I don't have to concern myself with it as much.
But
And
this is like a propaganda thing. You cannot believe anything you hear. And not even half of what you see.
remember how you looked at it 2 years ago,
Right.
and then all it takes is someone saying, well, maybe look into this a little bit deeper, and you look into it and you go,
Why?
I got to sit back. I've got to belay my decisions on this. And it's tough. And it's not that I dislike either country. I have my personal feelings on what would be best over there. But remember, I am a bona fide moron. Do not follow my
And it's hard
suggestions.
to think about something for a country like that from our perspective, because we live in the greatest nation in the world.
Oh, easy.
But we also don't have our neighbors lobbing bombs at us to the point
Nope.
where we can't send our kids to school without fear.
Yep.
Their bus is going to be attacked or all of that. The propaganda is coming out of both sides.
Yep.
And I mean, I get it.
Both
I get
sides
that you
have
have
been-
to explain the other side is dropping propaganda and lying to you.
Yep.
But at the same time, you also have to drop some if you need to get people on your side. And our country's messed
And
up enough. I'm taking a step back. I don't want anyone to die. And
We're
I
in
don't want
fifth-
anyone in
we're-
fear. But
we're knee deep in 5th generational warfare. The war is won in people who aren't involved in the war's eyes and ears.
5th generation? Because I think it goes back longer than that.
Well, 5th generation is a new modern warfare where warfare is fought through subterfuge and mass media and
Oh, gotcha. No, I get it.
5th generation
Kind of like
warfare.
dimensions, if you
Yes, and that's where we are. That's where we fight now. The next war we see, the next major war we see, we won't recognize if you're a person who studies wars, but
will. It'll be drones.
it's being tested now in Ukraine. It's being tested now in Israel, Gaza. It's being tested now in parts of the Middle East. All of this is being tested.
I guarantee
and
we've
proven.
got labs here in the United States, and they're testing robots and drones and everything, and sonar and booms, sonic booms, and lasers from satellites. You cannot, I don't think the human
Maybe
being
they've
can
got the
actually
old brown
envision.
note.
I mean, who's to say they don't have alien technology they've mastered to create these super weapons,
Maybe
and that our
Maybe
fear of
they'll just
nuclear
use
war is just
the aliens.
it's a tiny fear at this point, because
Ooh, nuclear war has, in the last month, that has very much been back on the table.
right, but it's
Trump saying we're going to
you
start
say
testing
10
again.
times that with
The-
what their capabilities are.
The CIA, was it the CIA head coming out and saying, oh, yes, Russia's been testing and China's been testing over the last decades. They have been. And Trump's like, well, we're going to do it too now. So the nuclear war is back on. That's on the menu again. And
These are human beings. They're perfectly imperfect. To have weapons that can destroy the entire earth is insane. But if it's peace through strength and we have to show off who has more weaponry,
either we're going to go out with the boom or we're going to go out by not making babies. But one way or another, we're working hard at going out. But that's the show. Holly,
I have faith that Christ will be back with us. And this is all by design. So
maybe
for those of you, just keep your light and your prayers going.
I hope you are right. I hope you're right. Either way, it's been a fun ride. I'm an old man. I'm on the other side of it. I have lived a fun life.
Just hush your mouth.
Adventure and excitement. And I mean,
you don't
I've
get to say you're an old man in my presence.
I know you're older.
Did
Did I just hum that out loud?
You hummed it loud enough.
God, like months on me. Anyways,
We love you guys. We'll
Yes.
see you next week. And hopefully we will get the guests that we haven't been able to get to yet. We want to introduce you to candidates and we want to
yeah, we're trying to
get your ideas. Kay, tune into our show. You've got great information when it comes to school boards. And
Yes.
I would like to talk with the legislators regarding the decision to create a mass committee that's going to be doing our planning and zoning for us. Regarding developments. And I think this is all intertwined. And, we just want you guys engaged and informed. And if we learn something, we love it. It's what we're here for. So
I don't know. I don't know if I love it. If you're informed, I'd rather.
no, you love to learn
I would
stuff.
rather brainwash you all to thinking like I do.
No, that isn't
And then I
fun.
would
Want to critical think our
You
way
guys
through
have
life.
have a wonderful week. Be safe.